Your body is not a static object. It is a living construction site, constantly repairing, replacing, and reorganizing itself. Even while you sit perfectly still, thousands of coordinated processes are keeping you alive without entering your awareness. Your nostrils do not usually share the workload equally. Every few hours, tissue inside one side swells while the other opens wider. Then they switch. This normal nasal cycle helps condition incoming air and protect the respiratory passages. A newborn has roughly 270 bones, while most adults have 206. The number falls because many separate bones gradually fuse during growth, especially in the skull, spine, and pelvis, creating a stronger framework for the mature body. The clear cornea at the front of your eye contains no blood vessels. Vessels would interfere with transparency, so the cornea receives oxygen and nutrients from tears, surrounding fluid, and the air touching its exposed surface. Your stomach protects itself from its own acidic contents with a constantly renewed mucus barrier. That coating traps bicarbonate near the stomach wall, creating a safer zone between delicate living tissue and the harsh environment used for digestion. Each hair follows its own growth schedule. Some follicles are actively producing hair, others are resting, and others are preparing to release the strand. That independence is why ordinary shedding does not make all your hair disappear together. Although the brain represents only a small fraction of body weight, it uses about 1/5 of the body's oxygen at rest. Much of that energy supports electrical signaling and maintenance, even when you appear to be doing nothing. Skin is your largest organ, but it is far more than wrapping. It blocks water loss, senses pressure and temperature, helps regulate body heat, and forms a living barrier against chemicals, sunlight, injury, and invading microorganisms. Your inner ears help you balance even in complete darkness. Fluid-filled canals detect head rotation, while nearby sensory organs register straight-line movement and gravity, allowing the brain to estimate how your body is positioned in space. The human body contains more than 600 skeletal muscles. Some create powerful movement, while others make tiny adjustments that stabilize joints, control facial expressions, guide the eyes, and keep you upright without conscious planning. Tooth enamel is the hardest tissue in the human body, but it is not alive and cannot rebuild itself like bone. Once deeply damaged, it needs dental treatment because the cells that originally formed it are no longer present. During rapid eye movement sleep, the brain temporarily suppresses most skeletal muscle activity. This natural paralysis helps prevent the body from physically acting out vivid dreams, while the eyes, diaphragm, and essential breathing muscles remain active throughout the stage. The famous tongue map is wrong. Sweet, salty, sour, bitter, and umami can be detected across many regions of the tongue because taste receptors are distributed far more broadly than the old classroom diagram suggests. Your heart does not wait for the brain to order every beat. Specialized pacemaker cells generate electrical impulses inside the heart itself, while nerves and hormones adjust the rhythm to match sleep, stress, movement, and changing oxygen demands. Fingernails usually grow faster on the dominant hand, and nails on longer fingers often grow faster than those on shorter ones. Growth also changes with age, health, circulation, season, injury, and how frequently each finger is used. The liver can restore a remarkable amount of lost mass after injury or surgery. Existing liver cells re-enter the cell cycle and enlarge or divide, allowing the organ to regain functional volume rather than growing an entirely new liver. Each human foot contains 26 bones, meaning both feet together hold about 1/4 of all the bones in an adult skeleton. Those small bones create flexible arches that absorb impact, store energy, and adapt to uneven ground. Your kidneys filter roughly half a cup of blood every minute. They remove wastes and excess water, return useful substances to circulation, balance minerals and acidity, influence blood pressure, support red cell production, and help maintain healthy bones. Fingerprints begin forming before birth as growing skin layers interact with pressure, movement, and the shape of developing fingertips. Even identical twins have different prints, because tiny conditions inside the womb are never perfectly identical. A hiccup begins with a sudden involuntary contraction of the diaphragm. Air rushes inward, then the vocal opening snaps shut, creating the familiar sound. The entire event is a reflex, not a deliberate action by the lungs. You are usually slightly taller after waking than before bed. During the day, gravity and movement compress the fluid-rich discs between your vertebrae. While you lie down at night, those discs gradually absorb fluid and expand again. Saliva is an active digestive fluid, not merely water. It moistens food, begins breaking down starch, protects teeth and mouth tissues, helps control microbes, and allows dissolved flavor molecules to reach the receptors responsible for taste. Goosebumps are leftovers from a hairier past. Tiny muscles pull each hair follicle upright during cold or strong emotion. In furry mammals, this traps insulating air or enlarges appearance, but human body hair makes the effect mostly cosmetic. The appendix is not simply useless. It contains immune tissue and participates in the gut's microbial environment. People can live normally without it, yet its structure suggests it contributes to immune activity, especially earlier in life. Smell is unusually powerful at triggering memories because odor information connects closely with brain regions involved in emotion and memory. A faint scent can therefore recover a detailed scene before you consciously identify what you are smelling. Blinking briefly interrupts visual input, yet the world does not appear to flicker. The brain suppresses awareness of each blink while the eyelids spread a fresh tear film that keeps the cornea smooth, clean, protected, and optically clear. Earwax comes in two major inherited types, wet and dry. A variation in one gene strongly influences which type a person produces, making this ordinary substance an unexpectedly visible example of genetic differences among human populations. Many joints contain synovial fluid, a slippery liquid that reduces friction between moving surfaces. Motion helps distribute this fluid across cartilage, which is one reason gentle movement often makes a healthy, stiff joint feel easier after resting. Your body cools itself by moving heat toward the skin and releasing sweat. As sweat evaporates, it carries heat away. But this works less efficiently in humid air because the surrounding atmosphere already contains large amounts of water vapor. Your left lung is smaller than your right because it shares chest space with the heart. The right lung usually has 3 lobes, while the left has 2 and includes an indentation shaped around the heart. Mature human red blood cells eject their nuclei before entering circulation. Losing that internal structure creates more room for oxygen-carrying hemoglobin and gives the cells enough flexibility to squeeze through capillaries narrower than their normal resting diameter. Your tears drain into your nose through tiny openings near the inner corners of the eyelids. That shared plumbing explains why your nose runs when you cry, and why some eye medications can leave a taste in your throat. Bone is constantly being dismantled and rebuilt. Specialized cells remove old or damaged material, while others lay down new tissue, allowing the skeleton to repair microscopic stress, adapt to repeated loads, and help regulate mineral levels. Your pupils are openings, not black objects inside the eyes. Muscles in the colored iris continuously change their diameter, shrinking in bright light and widening in darkness to control how much light reaches the sensitive retina behind them. The small intestine is much longer than the large intestine. Its folded inner surface, finger-like villi, and microscopic projections create enormous absorptive area, allowing nutrients from a meal to cross efficiently into blood and lymph. The brain tissue itself cannot feel pain because it lacks pain receptors. Headaches arise from surrounding structures such as blood vessels, nerves, muscles, membranes, eyes, or sinuses, which is why awake brain surgery can sometimes be performed. Deep inside the cochlea, delicate hair cells convert vibration into electrical signals for hearing. In humans, severe damage to these cells is generally permanent, which is why repeated exposure to very loud sound can cause lasting hearing loss. Muscles usually work in coordinated groups rather than alone. When one muscle shortens to move a joint, another may relax, stabilize, or slow the movement, giving the body control instead of allowing every action to become a sudden jerk. Your adult teeth begin developing long before they appear. Permanent teeth form inside the jaws during childhood, waiting beneath baby teeth while their roots and crowns mature, then gradually move into position as the primary teeth loosen. Food has far less flavor when your nose is blocked. The tongue detects basic tastes, but much of flavor comes from aroma molecules traveling from the mouth into the nasal cavity while you chew and swallow. The sound of a heartbeat comes mainly from valves closing, not from the heart striking the chest. The familiar two-part rhythm reflects different sets of valves shutting as blood moves through the chambers in a controlled sequence. One healthy kidney can often perform enough filtration for ordinary life. The remaining organ can enlarge and increase its workload over time, which is why carefully screened people can donate one kidney and continue living active, normal lives. A fever is a controlled rise in the body's temperature set point, not simply uncontrolled overheating. Immune signals tell the brain to conserve and produce heat, which is why chills can occur while your measured temperature is still climbing. The soles of your feet contain a high concentration of sweat glands. Their moisture improves grip in small amounts, but stress can activate them strongly, which is why nervousness may leave damp footprints even in a cool room. Your thumb has only 2 phalanges, while each other finger usually has 3. This shorter structure, combined with a uniquely mobile joint at its base, lets the thumb oppose the fingers and makes powerful yet precise gripping possible. Your voice begins when air from the lungs passes through the larynx and makes the vocal folds vibrate. The throat, mouth, tongue, lips, and nasal spaces then reshape that basic buzzing sound into recognizable speech. Body temperature naturally changes across the day. It is usually lower during the biological night and rises toward daytime activity, following a circadian rhythm coordinated by the brain, rather than remaining fixed at one exact number. Your immune system can remember earlier encounters with specific threats. After certain infections or vaccinations, specialized cells persist and respond much faster when the same threat returns, sometimes stopping it before noticeable symptoms have time to develop. Every time you take a step, the arches of your feet deform slightly, storing and releasing mechanical energy like springs. This reduces the work required from muscles and makes walking more efficient than moving on rigid supports. Inside almost every nucleated cell, roughly 2 meters of DNA are packed into a microscopic nucleus. It is folded around proteins and compressed with extraordinary precision, yet remains readable, leaving one final question. What else is still hidden inside us?